And let me ask, who in the room used to be or is currently on a vestry? Which would you rather receive? A restricted bequest, told exactly how it had to be used, or an unrestricted bequest, where you get to choose? Typically that is the case, and that is usually the wiser course because you as leaders of the parish have typically the most information about what's developing in the local area and can plan best. However, and this is just something to put at the back of your mind as one of these tools in your toolkit for planned giving, when it comes to planned gifts, especially larger planned gifts, many people will desire to restrict it in some way, shape, or form. And that often comes out of a sense of distrust or a lack of understanding of how these gifts will be treated when they're received. And so it's a natural tendency to desire to restrict it in some way. And so, again, I encourage you to be building up that sense of trust and confidence through endowment and gift acceptance policies as well as other methods so that people know that they can trust the leadership even if the leadership changes at the congregation. Now, even though it's my favorite topic, I will only touch upon life income gifts just for a few moments. So what a life income gift is when you have an individual who believes and is convicted about your future mission and ministry, when they give their gift, they can't give away those assets without receiving income to themselves in return. That is what a life income gift is. They give a gift that's irrevocable, and they'll receive for that gift a charitable deduction. They will typically receive income for the rest of their lives. And then when the person who's receiving income passes away, the remaining value of those assets go to the parish or to the various charities that have been designated. The Episcopal Church Foundation, since 1994, has actually been overseeing life income gifts for the entire church for all of these years. And so the ones that I'm going to mention, ECF currently has all of these programs in place. And if you, as leaders of your congregation, discover that someone might be interested in one of these types of gifts, you don't need to be the expert. All you need to do is simply pass them on to us at the Episcopal Church Foundation, and we will work with them confidentially on what gift is going to be appropriate for them. I say this because for you as leaders, this is really the important thing to know. When you're dealing with people's personal finance and personal retirement, they typically don't want to talk to other members of the parish. They want to talk to someone who's an objective outsider, and we can handle that at ECF to take care of that for them, provide whatever illustrations they may require, and as an added benefit, we handle all of the back office work, all the tax filing, the payment, and then the ultimate distribution of the gifts. So all of that is taken care of. Now, a few quick notes. There are three main types. First type is a pooled income fund, where once someone makes their irrevocable gift, the gift is pooled with other gifts of the same kind. And those participating in the pool receive a pro rata share of the income, and it's literally the income that they receive, so that you're not digging into the principle of the gift. What this means then is that the income will vary from year to year, but it will leave the maximum remainder for the Episcopal charity that was designated. Okay? Not very popular anymore because people typically need more income. It was popular back when interest rates were sky high. What is the most popular life income gift, though, is the charitable gift annuity. This is a gift where after someone makes their irrevocable gift, you are put in a contract with a charity. In this case, a contract with the Episcopal Church Foundation. And the Episcopal Church Foundation guarantees to pay a designated person or couple a fixed amount of income for the rest of their lives. I have an example for how this works, but basically, based upon the age of the person when they make the charitable gift annuity, there is an annuity rate that's assigned to their age. You multiply that times their original gift value, and that comes up with a fixed amount of income. Now, this does dig into the principal over time, and it is intended to. Normally, about 50% of the original gift will be left for the charities when the person passes away, and it's designed to do that. However, that 50%, although the income is guaranteed to the individual, the 50% is not guaranteed to the charity. So if someone far outlives their life expectancy and markets don't perform well, the gift could go down to zero. That would mean the charities would not receive anything, but the Episcopal Church Foundation is still obligated to pay income to the designated people. So that's how that gift works. And that's also why it's so popular, because it is guaranteed income. Yes, sir.
So could a person use an appreciated asset?
Absolutely. And it's actually a good idea to use an appreciated asset because you receive the, what's known as the present value of the future remainder as your tax deduction. And this is, people are surprised that you can do these sorts of gifts, believe it or not. But let me just say this, if you've gone to college, and if you haven't already heard about these, your college will be calling soon, because colleges love charitable gift annuities. Everybody loves charitable gift annuities because of their nature. Anyway, a few quick notes. The pooled income fund and the charitable gift annuities are simpler gifts, and they share some things in common. You can fund them with cash or appreciated marketable securities. You can give income to one or two people, and you can only give the remainder value that will remain when the people pass away to Episcopal entities. Okay? The third and final type, for those of you who are struggling through this, is the charitable remainder trust. It's a bit different. This is an actual charitable entity that's created, and what it allows is a tremendous amount of flexibility for the donor to do planning for either their retirement or a number of charitable opportunities. They fall into two basic categories. The first being a flexible payout where the amount varies from year to year, and the other is a fixed payout where it's a fixed amount every year coming out of the charitable assets of the trust. Just curious, which do you think would be more popular? That's what most people would think. No. In fact, it's the variable, it's the percentage, or the unit trust as it's called, because it allows a spending rule to be used, much like an endowment. So sometimes the payout will be higher, sometimes lower. However, there's less of a risk that the trust would be exhausted, because if you must pay out a fixed amount year in and year out of the trust assets, it's very possible that those assets could be exhausted if there are serious market downturns. Okay? Now, the one thing that's very important for you to know about this as leaders of your congregation is if you have someone who might be interested in creating one of these, they can be created with any number of different assets like real estate or closely held stock, as well as other types of assets like cash or various marketable securities. But you can contact us at the Episcopal Church Foundation, and ECF can actually, for free, draft up the initial trust documents for the donor and the donor's attorney to review, and ECF can serve as trustee over this trust for the rest of those individuals' lives. So it's a great opportunity at a very low cost for the donor. I am just going to glance at this for a moment. It's the charitable gift annuity. Based upon someone's age, they receive an annuity rate. And as it works out, over time, 50% of the amount that was given would be given to the charity. Now, that is the typical way that this works. But what I wanted to note is that it is possible, though, for much of the income that the individual would receive to be mostly tax-free up into the age of their life expectancy. The way that this gift works, as I said, is it goes into the principal of the gift over time. So it is possible then to have what's known as a repayment of principal, But what it does is it gives people tax advantages over time. If this is something that you think someone at your congregation would be interested in, we're happy to work with that. Any questions so far? That was like a race through those because it is somewhat of a warm room. Yes, ma'am.
So we had the documents to set up all the things. How recently had they been revised, and should I get a new copy and look at revising them?
What sort of documents are you talking
The
about?
documents to set up and down the front,
Oh, okay. When did you set them up?
6 years ago.
Okay, and these are not for a personal trust, but for the endowment of the parish, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
They are very similar, but actually, I mean, we'd be happy to review them with you again. So if you put the E next to your name, I can have someone contact you and work with you. Yes, sir.
I've experienced in 2 different parishes a problem you haven't made reference to yet, which doesn't seem like it would be a problem, but it is. Namely, that when churches receive and hold large endowments, it discourages annual giving. How do you, I mean, I know of many people who say, they don't need my money, look at all that endowment they have.
Right.
So how do you deal with that?
This is a process, actually. There's no simple solution to that. The thing that's most important to be raising up within the congregation is a knowledge of what the endowment actually funds and the difference that the endowment is making in the lives of the congregation and beyond. It is a challenge. Yes, Terry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's actually a stewardship communication issue.
Yes.
And one of the things we talked about in the 101 course is that increasingly you need to be talking about the impact
Yep.
that people's annual giving is having. So except in very rare cases, for instance, the congregations that were endowed by the Lilly family, which have, or Trinity Wall Street, where they're into tens of millions of endowments. Your endowment is not enough to fund all your operating costs. So what you talk about is what difference you are making in the community and why that is important. And then that's the motivation to give to the annual fund. The endowment, you talk about what it does and what impact it has. But if you're focusing on impact, then you want to be able to make those 2 cases separately.
And the operating funds are a challenge. I mean, you don't want to get to that point where basically it's funding your entire operation, because then you can get to a point, not to mention which parishes are in Indiana, but they have a serious problem of helping people to see the difference that individual giving would make, but that's a key factor.
One of the little churches is
Is one
one
of
of
the,
the ones I was referencing.
yeah, those are tough.
They are
And-
challenged.
And largely what Christ Church Cathedral decided is, we're just gonna give away all the Lilly money and then go to the
And
congregation.
it
We
doesn't
need
go to
yours because we're
operation.
doing all our hours away, and that's what they do.
That's actually a lot like what Trinity Church Wall Street will focus on, because you want to have endowments sort of face away from, the ongoing operating needs of the congregation and face to making the world a better place in short sum. Kathleen, yes, and then we've got to do
The suggested enabling resolution language that I got from ECF limits how much of the annual draw can end up in the operating budget, particularly for this reason, so that extra monies become an incentive to the congregation to explore what forms of outreach and what
That's right.
forms of ministry development this could fund.
So what I want to try and do as we wrap up in the next 10 minutes is just talk briefly about some high points for planning for the future. And please know that the most important thing to be doing is raising awareness about planned giving, making sure that people know how they can give a planned gift. It is unbelievable how many people are seeking planned gifts from the members of your congregation. The church can be very reticent about this, but practically every charity in this country is trying to talk to the members of your congregation about making a planned gift to them. But most people in your congregation would be very happy to consider making one, or at least, well, as I say, consider making one. But you need to raise awareness so that they know that they have the capability to do so, because it may not actually occur to them. When you're thinking about who are your most likely plan-giving donors, as I joked before, a lot of people think about the elderly members of the congregation or the wealthiest members of the congregation, when in fact there is no statistical tracking among those, the most wealthy members of your congregation, and your oldest members may or may not wish to make that allocation. The best indication that someone is going to make a planned gift to your congregation is consistency in giving. That if they have been consistent givers over many, many years, they are communicating to you the level of their affection as well as their devotion to your future mission and ministry. So it's your most consistent givers, even those who may not have been the largest givers, that are your most likely planned givers. And I'm sure people can tell many, many stories about, it seems to often be the elderly schoolmistress or someone else who nobody realized was a very savvy investor and had built up a very significant gift. And she had no heirs, and then in the end, even though she may not have been giving greatly to the organization, she was giving consistently. When she passes away, she often leaves a very substantial gift. And that is just something that you wish to consider. There's a number of resources that I'm going to be sending all of you through the email. But I just wanted to check one quick thing, and I think this will be a positive in this diocese. Who on their annual pledge card has a place where it says, please check off here if you have remembered the parish in your estate plans? It's typically not that many, but this is language that is really important because it's the building block of your plan-giving efforts. And putting it on your pledge card can be a way, while people are reflecting on the level of their commitment for the next year, they can also reflect on their ongoing future commitment to you at that time. You can also add another line which says, please check off here if you would like more information about plan-giving opportunities. Now, you may be a little frightened to put something like that in your on your card, but have no fear. If you do, you can certainly contact the Episcopal Church Foundation, and we can certainly assist you in getting the resources that you need to educate your leaders. But also, if you do get someone checking that off and they need to learn more about planned giving, you can simply order a number of these brochures from our website, and I'll pass these around, and simply send it to them. And then you can panic and call us at ECF, and we will help you begin your process for raising up other people in planned giving. You can also download any of these resources that I'm passing around now for free from our website. So let me actually pass this on this side of the room.
Jim, can we also order those handouts online?
You can order all of these online. You can download them for free or order them online for a nominal fee. And I think the cost of them is in your packets that you're taking with you today. But remember that what you're doing in planned giving is you are beginning a relationship. You are beginning a long-term relationship with the members of your congregation who are convicted about your future mission and ministry. And it's imperative that you are saying thank you to them on an ongoing basis. Let me ask this. Who here has a legacy society? And what parish? Oh, fantastic. Well, a legacy society is an opportunity to allow people to be recognized while they're alive for making a planned gift, or actually in this instance, obviously, planning to make a planned gift. They haven't passed away yet. Having a legacy society is a way where you can raise awareness of planned giving on an ongoing basis, and also say thank you to people on an ongoing basis. There are webinars that the Episcopal Church Foundation has that you can play at your leisure, so that you can learn more about how to put these into place. But in the last couple of minutes, since we weren't intending on getting through all the slides today, I just wanted to mention a few pointers as you're moving ahead, since most people here are not engaged actively in planned giving. And the first thing that I would recommend that you consider is think about, is there someone at your congregation, and it may well be all of you in this room, that may fit into this category, someone who would be what I call a planned giving shepherd. Someone who would like to learn more about planned giving, share that information with others, and continue a process of awareness raising about planned giving in your congregation. If that is you, that would be a wonderful thing. The Episcopal Church Foundation, and I'll be sharing the resources with all of you, can give you a number of tools to help equip you to talk to people about planned giving, and these brochures are some of them. Others are on the table that the foundation has set up outside, and you can certainly visit that. It's a book on planned giving called Funding Future Ministry. You also have an opportunity to go through a number of webinars, and all of our webinars are actually recorded on our ecfvp.org site. As I mentioned before, only a couple of people knew about this, but you do have reference to this in the slides. All of these webinars are available to you, and they can help educate your leaders. They can also help educate your donors. One I would just like to highlight is the Prospective Donor webinar. It's one that we had put together. It's only 35 minutes long, and this is one which you can literally send the link to someone who inquires that they would like to know more about planned giving. You can simply give them this link, and they can listen to all the different types of planned gifts and discover what they might wish to do for themselves. You can also do it within the context of an adult forum. All you would need to do is set up a situation much like we have with a projector and internet connection, and simply play that as part of an adult forum. I would strongly recommend, though, you'd also incorporate a couple of individuals to give their testimony for why they've chosen to make a planned gift at that time. That's also why you are asking for that checkoff box on the annual pledge statement. You are seeking to build up a group of human resources to help in the planned giving effort. And when you have individuals who can speak or write from the heart about planned giving, it is very impactful in helping turn other people's hearts to considering making a planned gift. And that is the key factor, that you're raising awareness and helping people to make the choice to raise your parish to the level of family in their estate plans. We have a number of webinars coming up. Oh, and one just passed. It was a wonderful one on capital campaign for debt. Oh my goodness. And then there'll be another coming up with working with volunteers on April the 2nd. Spending rules, which will go into much greater length, obviously, than I did today, about endowments and best practices with that, as well as another Basics of Capital campaign, which is available to you. All of our webinars are free. All you must do is simply register for them in advance, but if you're not able to go, they're always available on recording. And just in closing, I just wanted to say that ECF is here for you, especially in this diocese. We'll be here many times in the years to come, working very closely with the diocese and your local foundation in helping you to raise awareness about planned giving, helping you to build that sense of trust and confidence among the members of your congregation through a number of means, but especially through endowment and gift acceptance policies. Any final questions? And then I just want to ask everyone to pass up this confidential information so that I can lock it away. But any closing questions? Yes,
Just
Jerry.
a quick statement, either for stewardship or for planned giving, what seems to be very effective lately is to point out, you talk about pointing directions where money is going to be used in terms of these. Your stewardship or planned giving goes to keeping our employees employed. And in this era of joblessness, that really scores points with people and their giving. They hear it every day on the news, keeping people employed and keeping your own staff employed, not having to cut staff. It's a very effective technique right now, I think.
It's interesting. Many times people would actually take the reverse position on that.
Yes.
Talking about just keeping status quo is not actually what inspires people to give. But I think if you can connect in with people what the mission is, what you're trying to achieve as a congregation, connected that with the people that make that possible, that can be an impactful thing to say.
Many parishes are thinking of cutting staff.
Correct. There is a feedback form that the diocese has handed. I believe, sir, you did. Thank you very much. And I just wanted to thank the diocese, Bishop Mathis, and the wonderful St. Bart's, where I've had the pleasure of being previously. Thank you all for having us all out here today. So, thank you.
And we'd like to thank you, Jim, and I'd like to point out to people that when we put together the foundation, we looked at using a secular advisor, and we just found that they didn't understand us and we didn't understand them. And in continuing to look, that the Episcopal Church Foundation has been tremendously helpful, and the material that they are willing to provide us and assist us with is phenomenal. So I hope you will really truly consider using them. And by the way, a legacy society is so easy to do.
We're
It's a
gonna
great
help
way to
you
thank
get that on the calendar in the next workshop. That's part of the plan.
Very